making a little improvement to the shackle mod on the front of my Tacoma. Well, good afternoon everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to make a little bit of an improvement to the shackle mod that I've done here to the Tacoma. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. If you look over here on the one on the passenger side, see this sucker's pretty tight. It is not moving. And I think that's just the way the shackle was manufactured. You know, there's a tolerance, and this one just happens to be very, very tight. It isn't going anywhere. I mean, I can move it, but I have to get on it to move it a bit, right? Now, if you look over here, the one on the driver's side, this one, it moves freely. Just kind of bounces around, and you can imagine you get a little bit of sound out of it. I don't really hear it in the cab, to be honest. I think maybe once or twice I've actually heard anything here, but I know you can hear it from the outside. And frankly, I don't want to drive around in a truck that's banging and clanking and everything else. So I'm going to take care of that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and pull this off, and then I'm going to run to Lowe's and find me some washers. I'm going to put a washer in between, on each side between the edge of the shackle and the bracket itself, just to kind of buffer this a little bit, at least from the sides. I mean, I suppose if it bounces up high enough, it'll hit underneath. I don't know, but I'm not real concerned about that. I'd have to be taking some pretty serious bumps. So I thought I'd go ahead and show you guys how I'm going to take this off. Some people had commented that I used Loctite, and I should have used Loctite. Well, I used blue Loctite, and if you're familiar with the Loctite product, there are different grades. Blue holds the screw so that it doesn't back out, but it's not a firmer, more permanent option, if you will, and that you can't get the screw out. So we're going to find out. I'm going to go ahead and remove the pen because I'm going to take it with me to Lowe's to get the right washers, and they're just going to be rubber washers again. So I'm just going to stick a screwdriver through the pinhole. It should be pretty easy. I mean, this isn't rocket science, right? And then I should be able to back out the pin. At least that's my theory. And there you go. I mean, that really wasn't too difficult, I don't think. So, to all the skeptics out there about using Loctite, it holds the screw in. It does not make it so you can't get it out, right? So there we go. So all I have to do now is take this pen with me to Lowe's and find me a washer or grommet, whichever works, I guess, to take up that space. So I'm going to do that. We'll come back, we'll reinstall this, and I'll show you the finished product, my little improvement to the shackle mod on the Tacoma here. Okay, back from Lowe's. Gotta say, they let me down a little bit. Didn't have an exact match for what I wanted. So what I ended up getting was a 7/8 inch steel washer. Now, before you say anything, I'm using it as a template because I also bought a couple of rubber washers, black, which you can see sort of right here. Now what I'm going to do, this washer fits pretty good over the pin. It has a little play, but not too much. So what I'm going to do is use the steel washer to cut out a hole, you can see here, in the rubber washer, I guess, to fit over my pen. And I need two, one for each side of the pen. I'm not going to do anything on that side because it doesn't move. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm just going to, I think I'll go with the bigger one actually. Wasn't quite sure. Actually, I may do all four and pick which one I like the best, but this is what I'm going to do. Just cut out the hole on the washer here, hopefully, and see if it fits. So let me go ahead and do that, and we'll see what the finished product ends up being. Here we go. Wish me luck. Hopefully I can get it pretty well centered. Okay. Well, there's my first attempt. Can't say that it's perfect, but it is going to be effective. It does fit, like you can see right there. It's not too bad. Again, it's not perfect, but hey, it'll work. Okay, we got our washers done. Gonna go ahead and put this back on. I am going to use blue. This is blue Loctite, by the way. You'll notice it says blue. I notice, or I see that it's in a red container, but it is blue Loctite. So, first of all, pick the best washer for the outside, I guess. I don't know if it matters, but go ahead, put the washer on, like so. And then, go ahead and stick it in. I guess we're probably going to have to put the Loctite on now. Just run some Loctite down the threads. This isn't rocket science. There we go. Now, just going to go ahead and slip the washer on the inside of the bracket like so. Hopefully there's enough room, and actually I have the one on the other side in the wrong place. So, it's got to go through this hole. So it's also got to go on the inside of the bracket. You guys are supposed to tell me that. Don't just let me do it. All right, let's put the other one in there. Screw it in. And I could have gone with, you know, maybe thicker or more than one, so that I could get this a little tighter. I don't know. Not a big deal. I'm not that concerned about it. It's just a buffer between the two metals, if you will. Now, let's go ahead and see if we can't tighten this thing up. I did have it pretty tight before, so... I do want it pretty tight again, same as the other side. So... about like that, I think, is probably good. Still going to get a little noise from the rod itself, the pin going through the bracket here as well. I don't know if there's really any way to avoid that unless it had some kind of a rubber sleeve in the hole of the demon bracket itself. Not a big deal. Again, it doesn't bother me. I'm just trying to minimize, which I think I've done. See if you guys can hear. Going to get a little bit of noise, but it's not going to be banging from side to side like it was. So obviously it is a vehicle. It's not going to be silently quiet no matter what you do, right? So let's tighten this up just a little more if possible. I think I may be there already. Yeah, that's as tight as it's going to go. Want to check the other side real quick to make sure that it is tight. So let's do that. That it hasn't loosened up at all, I guess, during use. So let's check that. Actually, don't remember which way. I'm assuming it's this way. Yeah, that hasn't moved at all. Again, this one is pretty tight. I don't know if it's because the bracket here is not perfectly in line with itself, so the pin in essence binds between the bracket and the shackle, I should say, not the bracket. The shackle could, you know, isn't the same height, so the holes don't line up perfectly. So when you stick it through the bracket, the demon bracket, it kind of binds in there a little, which actually isn't a bad thing. It keeps it pretty tight. I mean, this doesn't move around. I can move it, I mean, as you can see, if I want to, but once it gets to about that point, it just kind of freezes there, which is a good thing. Speaking of that, while it's up, let's one more time. Just want to see if it'll tighten anymore or not. Nah. That's about as tight as I think I'd want it to be. So anyway, that's my little addition, if you will, or improvement to the shackle mod that I've done. Again, just something I wanted to do really just for kicks. The noise doesn't bother me, but if it bothers you, there's a good way to kind of shut it down a little bit, just a little thin washer in between the two. I don't know how they'll weather either. They're rubber, so we'll see. Part numbers, if you want, I can show you real quick. The bigger washer is this one. This is the metal washer from Lowe's, and it's let's see, their part number 491420. So this is 491420. And then the smaller of the washers I used was a 1/4 by 1 1/4 by 16. And I am thinking, yeah, the part number for that is 880374. You can see right there. And the bigger washer, which is 1/4 by 1 1/2 by 1/16, is part number 880378. You can see maybe right there. So if you want to do this yourselves, I would go with the 880378, the bigger of the two washers, only because that seemed to be the right size, I think, the right fit. Anyway, that's it. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Is there a better way to do it? I'd be curious to know. Also, if you haven't before and you're interested, check out my other channel. It is RobMotion JT, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And real quick, on the way out, if you would, smash that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.